I love that theme song. Hello folks, shintigercurl here, that dude in the straw hat, bringing you yet another awesome video. Well, it's Monday night. You know what that means. Time for some Raw. Now, unfortunately I've been a bit under the weather recently because of a blockage that I had in my digestive tract that I've been trying to get out, so there's that. But this was a too good of a Raw for me to just pass up. So anyway, this Raw comes to you live from Montreal, Quebec, Canada, the home to a lot of WWE history, including the infamous Montreal Screwjob from the Attitude Era. So we are pretty much smack dab in the middle of what the King calls Bizarro World. So anyway, we open up with Randy Orton coming out doing his Randy Orton shtick of saying how much he's going to destroy Seth Rollins, because if you didn't know, last week the WWE fans voted on whether or not who would face Seth Rollins at the next pay-per-view, Payback. It would either be between Roman Reigns, Randy Orton, or Roman Reigns and Randy Orton. And the fans chose unanimously the third option. So it will be a triple threat for the World Heavyweight title. Meanwhile, Roman Reigns comes out. The fans, I'll just tell you like this. Canada is one of those high-mark wrestling crowds. They'll let you know whether they like something or not. And this crowd was very hot for Randy Orton. And not so much sold on Roman Reigns. So much so that they didn't even give him a chance to talk. So anyway, the two of them get into it. Then the new WWE champions, The New Day, come out. And, of course, everyone hates them. I would hate them too, but thankfully they have embraced their heelish nature. They become these overly positive douchebags. And also, it marks the first time in Kofi Kingston's career that he's serving as a heel. Yeah, he's been with the company for nearly 10 years. This is his first time as a heel. So anyway, we have our first matchup. The New Day versus Randy Orton and Roman Reigns. Now, Booker T said something to the effect that this was using the Freebirds rule. Now, okay, for those of you who don't know, the Fabulous Freebirds were a three-man stable back in the 70s and the 80s, who held the, I believe it was the NWA or the then WWF titles. I can't remember, I'm sorry. Medicine is me a little bit fuzzy, but anyway, the Freebird rule entails that if the tag team champions are a part of a prestigious group, then any two members of that group can effectively wrestle to defend their belts. This was the last time the Freebird rule was ever really used was when the Spirit Squad won the tag team title. So any two of those five guys could defend the titles, whoever is applicable. This is in the same case. Because of New Day's similarities, the New Day are allowed to use the Freebird rule. Unfortunately, this is not a case where the Freebird rule only applies. Booker, I'm sorry, but you're stupid for doing this. For saying that this match was using the Freebirds rule, since one, it was already established that it was going to be a 3-on-2 handicap match, and two, it's not for the belts. So the Freebird rule has little to no bearing in this match. But yeah, the end of this match comes when Roman Reigns goes to spear Kofi Kingston, but Kingston moves and Reigns spears Randy. Surprisingly enough, the tag team champions win this match. I figured normally the tag champs would be used as enhancement talent and jobbing to the main event talent just so they can look good for an upcoming match. I like this. Kane comes out to direct some operations and says that for the main event, he wants to exploit that nice little tension between the two. So the main event will be Roman Reigns versus Randy Orton. This will be the first time that these two have faced off since SummerSlam of last year. Let's see, what else? So, like I said, I'm sorry if my mind is Like I said, I just took some medicine for my stomach, and my mind is not really all there. So I could be remembering things out of order or missing some details. But anyway, I believe the next match, I'm trying to remember. Oh yeah, it was the Masters of the Universe, Tyson Kidd and Cesaro, versus Victor and Connor, the Ascension, or Ascension as I like to call them. Now this was a very good match, and Cesaro was phenomenal in this match. It still puzzles me why Vince McMahon does not see how great this guy is. He has great charisma, he can talk well enough on the mic, his in-ring work is superb. What don't you get? But anyway, the Masters win, of course, in being in Canada. Next up, backstage, Seth Rollins is very, very unhappy with Kane because Kane feels that Seth should showcase why he's the best out there, and he should, for his match, since Roman and Randy are going to be wrestling, Seth should too. And who is he going to be facing? A rematch from last week as he faces off against the Titty Master himself, Dean fucking Ambrose. And J&J Security will be barred from the backstage. He'll be barred from the ring. Seth makes a comment. He really needs to shut his mouth. That Kane is a moron. So we fast forward to the match. Dean Ambrose versus Seth Rollins. Seth made a comment, like I said, that there was really no point. There was no point in Seth and Dean facing off. Just before the match begins, Kane comes out and says that he will make it a point to the match. That if Dean Ambrose wins, he will be inserted into the main event, making it a fatal four-way for the world title, for the world heavyweight title. Seth is of course pissed off as all that be damned. And then we have our match, which was a 5-star fucking match. It was that good. The crowd loved it. The commentators loved it. I loved it. Watch this match. So, even with some outside interference by J&J Security, Dean Ambrose wins, and now at the main event at Payback for the World Heavyweight title, we got Seth Rollins, Dean Ambrose, Roman Reigns. That looks familiar. That's right. For the first time ever, all three members of the Shield will be facing off against each other for the big belt. And Randy Orton's there, so yeah. Even though Randy Orton does stick out kind of like a sore thumb in this regard, I'm happy about this. I'm high on Dean Ambrose. Dean Ambrose is the most consistent guy on the roster. He consistently puts on great matches, despite if he wins or loses. And since the Shield broke up, he has been nothing but on fire in matches. I'm glad for it. He deserves a shot. Not saying he's going to win. It'd be really nice if he won, but he's in a world title match. What more do you want? So yeah. Next up, Fandango versus Rusev. Before the match, Rusev makes some comments toward Lana about her burgeoning popularity amongst the fans, and even kind of comes on to her. Rusev ain't having that shit. During the match, he even gets her to do a little fandangoing with her, but Rusev sends her to the back, breaks Fandango, and humbles him. Yeah. And speaking of humbling, John Cena comes out for his weekly John Cena challenge, and the fans, Canada does not like you, John Cena. They are not your buddy, guy, and they're not your guy friend, and they're not your friend, buddy. So yeah, and for some reason the fans kept saying ole, ole, ole all the time. I wonder why. So Cena foregoing his whole patriotic red, white, and blue shtick, knowing that shit will not fly in the great land up north, and goes into something called a tirade about never quitting. Goes over about as much as you expect. So he opens the challenge. Then, of course, you're in Montreal. You can't be in Montreal and not have the man. the excellence of execution. The best there is, the best there was, and the best there ever will be. Part of one of the greatest wrestling dynasties that professional wrestling has ever had. That's right, Bret the Hitman Hart. He comes out and he says he wants to introduce the wrestler that John Cena will be facing. Then Heath Slater comes out and gets laid out by Bret Hart. Then Bret introduces the person who will be wrestling tonight. Montreal's own former NXT World Champion Sami ZAYN. And if you didn't figure it out by the thumbnail, yes, Sami ZAYN makes his Raw debut to the main roster. I'm not even sure if they're going to stick to the main roster or not. I still want to see him wrestle Kevin Owens one more time. But this was the picture-perfect way to introduce Sami ZAYN to the WWE Universe at large. If you haven't heard of Sami ZAYN, then what the fuck are you doing still watching this shit? Go on the network. Look this shit up. But yeah, to say that Montreal likes Sami ZAYN is like saying Chicago likes CM Punk, or Texas loves Stone Cold Steve Austin. That's understatement. Now this was a fantastic match. A very fun match. Sami ZAYN was like $1 million out there. So I told my friends on the CBR forums, if you haven't heard of Sami ZAYN now, if you haven't heard of Sami ZAYN before, you have heard of him now. In the end, he didn't win thanks to the springboard stunner into an AA by Cena, but Sami ZAYN got a standing fucking ovation from that crowd. I'm not even going to lie, I marked out hard when Sami ZAYN came out, jumping around in my underwear. Well, that was just an incredible, incredible moment. And I hope this is just the start of further good things for Mr. Sami ZAYN. He deserves it. Next up, like I said, if I'm remembering this out of order, I don't know. Next up, we have the Bella Twins. WWE Diva Champ Nikki and her little sister Brie. They come out, but they get the shit beaten out of them by Naomi, sporting a new, darker look, and the return of Tamina Snuka. Now, Naomi talks about how she had to extend that the Bellas weren't the only ones weren't the only family to dominate the Divas, and implies that she and Tamina are going to take them down. Now, Tamina Snuka is of course the daughter of Hall of Famer Jimmy Superfly Snuka, and so that makes her kind of related to the Owly wrestling family. Some say that I think Snuka married into the family a long time ago. I don't know if they're still together or not. I could be wrong. Please let me know in the comments. So this kind of makes sense. I also like Naomi's new look with all black and wearing dreadlocks. She just looks so intimidating now, and she's a very athletic diva. So this just makes her look great, and it matches the mood of her theme song. So this is a perfect direction for Naomi. Last time she was just doing a poor man's or poor woman's Sasha Banks. Now she's doing her own thing. Let's see how far they can go with it. Alright, trying to remember here. Let's see, we had some Ryback cut a promo on Bray Wyatt. Standard stuff, you could skip it. I think... Oh God, my head's all fuzzy. But anyway, I'll just skip on to the there's a lot of backstage stuff, but you can ignore it. So moving on, we get to tag team match between Neville and Dolph Ziggler versus Sheamus and your new king, King Barrett. I know I didn't get up to it last week when I really should have, but I wasn't feeling very well. But anyway, last week the King of the Ring tournament made its return, and even got a 1-hour live special on the WWE Network. And out of all the 8 participating superstars, only one rose to the title of King of the Ring, and that was Bad News Barrett. which I'm happy for. Hopefully this will see a turnaround away from his disastrous last Intercontinental title run, where everybody and their grandmama was beating his ass. So anyway, this was a very solid match. All four of these guys worked great together. And Neville's still finding his place, but he still looks fantastic out there. Needless to say, Barrett said, of course, he will rule with an iron fist and a bull hammer. And that's how he did. He made a proclamation that Neville eat a bull hammer to the face. King's proclamation. Don't deny it. Needless to say, King Barrett and his squire, Sir Sheamus, pick up the win. Now we transition to the main event. Roman Reigns, Randy Orton. But it's not going to be that simple, as Seth Rollins, J&J Security, and Kane come out. Jamie Noble gets the mic, which is good, because I like Jamie Noble. He says that he will be the special guest ring announcer for the match. Joey Mercury will be the special timekeeper. Kane will be the special guest enforcer, and Seth Rollins will be special guest commentator. How special is going on? But anyway, at first the match started out with Roman trying to convince Randy to team up with them and be on their guard because of what's going on outside. But Roman, not understanding that you cannot trust or work well with Randy Orton, especially after you spear him in the first match, decides, fuck it, we're just going to fight. This was a very solid match. These two work well together. Randy made Roman look very good in this match. I'm not even going to lie about that. That's until the Authority, J&J Security, Seth, and Kane jump them. And as they're beating them down, Titty Master comes out and starts laying people out. Then Randy RKO's Roman Reigns, and then Seth gives dirty deeds to Randy. And that's it. That's how we end. This is a pretty good show. My overall thought, this was a pretty good show. It had some low points, to be sure. The backstage segments you can miss. But the matches themselves were pretty good. The first match was solid. Sami Zayn making his debut on the main roster, awesomely epic. That is the mark out moment for me. And having Dean Ambrose in the world title match was a solid thank you to Dean Ambrose for all the work that he's been putting in since last year. So yeah, I'm going to be watching Payback. Hopefully it's going to be good. But anyway, that's my video. You like what you see? Link, comment, subscribe below. Got any questions or comments? Leave them below. I'll get back to you. Want to support the channel? Just click an advertisement or two. It takes literally just a second out of your day. It helps more than you really think. Also, if you really want to help, tip jar is up there. Just drop $1 or $2 in it, and yeah, and it helps out. So until next time, shintigercurl, that dude in the straw hat, saying good night, and Sami Zayn.